It turns out that when you build a business that tackles a problem you have, there's a lot more likelihood of success. And when you do it from joy, there's a lot more motivation to keep going. Xander Media, my media company, is thriving. We're on track to do in the next couple of months what we've done in total gross revenue in the year 2021 so far. In today's video, I'm going to share a simple tactic for how to start a business. I'm going to talk about a lot of my failed businesses, a couple of my successful ones, and what I've learned about starting businesses over the last 15 years. This isn't something that I chose to do deliberately with Xander Media or any of my previous businesses, but it's actually baked into how we operate at Xander Media and has been core of all of the successful businesses that I run. Let's dive in. The growth Xander Media is seeing right now is really exciting. We've increased the number of team members, we've opened up this incredible office, and we're tackling more sophisticated projects simultaneously than we have ever done before. And this kind of growth comes with consequences. Sometimes I'm short with my team, and sometimes our clients don't necessarily get the hand-holding that they might have even a few months ago. But as a physical athlete, I'm familiar with growth curves. I'm familiar with being sore the day after training or failing repeatedly before I learn to do something successful. This growth trajectory has me thinking back to the earliest days of Xander Media, almost 3 years ago. Angela and I living and working together in rural Pennsylvania, having just wrapped up Responsive Conference 2018 in New York City, and in the midst of selling Robin's Cafe to a buyer I met on Craigslist. I mean, first of all, what an insane time. But as I've been thinking back to that time 3 years ago and the intensity of the growth that we're in right now, something about founding companies has really been standing out to me. In all three cases, with Xander Media, Robin's Cafe, and Responsive Conference, I set out to tackle a problem or answer a question that I myself had. In the case of Robin's Cafe, I had lived in that neighborhood for 10 years. I was a dancer at the not-for-profit ODC, and I knew all of the companies that were in that neighborhood that the cafe could serve. I was myself the kind of person who would be a patron of a cafe in that neighborhood on that block. And so I built the cafe for me. In the case of Responsive Conference, I had never in my life been to a business conference, but I was fascinated by this idea that change is accelerating and that business can actually be in service to the people who work within the companies. And I wanted for myself to learn from the best in the world how to build a business that serves those people. And when I started Xander Media 3 years ago, it was specifically to solve the problems that I had had as a founder with the cafe and with Responsive Conference. At the cafe, I didn't do enough video production and did not run enough ads on Instagram stories in the earliest days of Insta stories. With Responsive Conference, I wish I could show you videos of what it took to run a business conference with no experience. And so Xander Media exists specifically so that we don't make those mistakes again and so that we can help founders not make those mistakes in the future. In other words, I started Xander Media specifically to solve my own issues, to tackle my own challenges. Before Xander Media, I had built 2 successful companies, and I'd also started about a dozen other ideas that didn't take off. There was Baniel Resources, where I was going to retail DVDs for my teacher, Anat Baniel, on the internet. Does that website even still exist? There was Sunrise San Francisco, where we were going to bring in teachers from the Autism Treatment Center of America and have them teach workshops to families with special needs kids around the Bay Area. There was my short-lived career as a hand model, and so many more. But the difference with Xander Media is I set out to work with people I love to do something that solved a need I have. And when I look back now, that's what I did too at Responsive Conference and Robin's Cafe. Solve a problem I myself was facing. But with Xander Media, with all of our growth and change, it's different. This isn't a topic that I'm interested in learning about or a cafe that I would enjoy. It's bigger now and more important. I'm working with and responsible for the livelihoods of people I adore working with every single day. And we're solving problems, large-scale video production, social media distribution, business strategy, that I've had in the past and will have in the future when I start something new. So as much as Xander Media is going through growing pains right now, I'm delighted because I'm working in an organization where I want to show up for work every day and alongside people I'm delighted to collaborate with. Businesses exist to solve problems, but when you build a business that solves problems you have, it's way more motivating to keep going and keep growing. But that's the thing, I'm like, I'm never gonna get bored.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna get bored because we can keep growing ceaselessly, right? The company enables you and me each to grow in whatever ways we want to forever.